Good morning. Good morning. I gave a few minutes space. I know that people tend to kind of filter in, so I'm just going to get the space set. I'm going to bring in a little smoke cleansing. I hope you all are doing well, that you've had a chance to read that third lesson in the Kapha Reset course for those of you who are going through this process of cleansing. And I hope you're feeling good after your cleanse. I feel so much clearer. I feel like I really released a lot. I also feel like I got a lot moving. So I have some stuff that is coming up now to be processed. And I did a lot of clearing out yesterday with movement, and it was really good. It's really good. So I hope you all are doing well. I'm going to open up this morning with a collective wild card read. It's a download that came in for me after doing our journeying around soul retrieval, just to see if there were any soul parts that needed to be called back. And I'll tell you, I didn't feel like I really was in need of calling back any soul parts. And since then, it's interesting. My last soul retrieval that I had with Stephen Farmer, little bits and pieces, little messages he gave me, little reminders. I'm realizing they are now. I didn't at the time, but I'm realizing it now. He was kind of preparing me for something. So when I went through the journey with all of you, I did it mine on Sunday because I wanted to be able to just like take it in and receive it on my day off. And I really had an experience I wasn't expecting to have. I went into it not feeling like I had any soul parts that I needed to call back. I feel like I've really integrated all of, the energy around the past, and I feel at peace. I feel at peace with everything. Um, mhm. I feel at peace with everything. And I feel very much myself. I feel like I've really reconnected with myself. So I wasn't expecting anything, from journeying back there, back wherever that was going to be, because I kind of left it open ended when I went in. But I was really surprised by what I found. And it's sort of presenting an interesting, Ted's in agreement. It was interesting, huh, Ted? So it sort of presented this very interesting challenge, challenge. And it's kind of funny because it totally connects in with my ancestry. Um, and that piece is really interesting. We're going to be bringing ancestral energy in this week. It's really wanting to come in. And my Nomina Comanche ancestry has really been coming in for me. And I have a lot of missing gaps. I'm just really, I would say, in the past few years, been diving into my ancestry and learning more about it. And I knew a lot about my Celtic ancestry, but I didn't know a lot about my Nomina Comanche ancestry. And I've been really discovering so much, and it's wild. Um, just the connection through the bloodline. You don't realize how much it really does energetically weave through your earth walk. It's a trip. It's a real trip. And even with the owl that came in, I had an interesting dream with an owl. This is all before we started this. I had an interesting dream with an owl that I've been guided not to share. So I'm not sharing that. That's just for me. But I had an interesting dream with an owl the very next day. My sister surprise gifted me the tarot of the owls. And then when I did go and do my journeying, it was pretty wild because before I even got down into the underworld, I was greeted by two totems. I was greeted by monarch butterfly specifically, and I was greeted by the great horned eagle owl. And I've seen that owl before. I saw that owl at a tree I used to visit, an old growth oak that's back in California. And it was very interesting that they showed up before I even entered, which is not common. I've never had that experience journeying before. And so I had many other interesting totems come through. I had panther, jaguar join me in crawling down the hole. And once I got down there, I was greeted by monkey, and which is interesting because monkey is trickster medicine. And I was also greeted by tarantula. I've had spiders show up before, black widow, different kinds of spiders. I've never had tarantulas show up before. And so I went and researched specifically all these types of totems. And I was amazed because I learned that the monarchs are considered to be um, those indigenous tribes from Canada through the plains, and just their journey of migration. It's believed that the monarch butterfly is the embodiment of the native tribes. And I was like, whoa, that was just really cool to me. It was just this huge moment of connection. I was like, hey, the ancestors are coming in. And then I looked up great horned eagle owl, because great horned eagle owl was really standing out to me. And I know that in many indigenous tribes, owl is taboo for many reasons. It's considered a very foreboding, heavy energy. Okay. And they call their feathers deceiver feathers. All right. So I was really interested though, because I felt specifically, intuitively, I was like, no, don't, you already know what owl medicine is. Look up specifically great horned eagle owl. And I did, and I was shocked to learn. I was shocked to learn that the great horned eagle owl is actually the only owl that the Nomina Comanche integrate. They have the same feelings of taboo around owl, which I did not know. And it's good for me to know because I'm working a lot more with my ancestors. But the great horned eagle owl, they did work with, and they used its feathers. They would put its feathers on their arms, and they would put its feathers on their shields when they would go into battle. And I thought that was really wild because it was like connecting me with this interesting piece that I learned about in Empire of the Summer. I think it's Empire of the Summer Moon. Oh, it's the rise and fall of the Comanche Nation. It's an amazing book. It goes really deep into the roots. So if any of you out there have indigenous tribal roots, I highly recommend looking up that book, and I'll get the right title, pin it in the comments. It's really potent. It's really potent. And I think it's good for everybody to be aware of just the roots of this land, the roots of this land. I mean, we're all connected to that energy, those of us who live in these areas throughout, the United States, Canada, okay? So it's just it was very interesting to me because in that book, they talk about the Comanche only went to battle during full moon. We got a full moon coming up. It's a Libra full moon, which is about balance, which is about karma, the scales of justice. And so just with the way the message came in, it like kind of tripped me out. And then I also learned that tarantula is also associated with indigenous tribal medicine. And it's all about protecting you while you're journeying in the underworld, which I just thought was wild. So ancestors coming in really, really strong. We're going to be bringing them in this week. I think it's good that we're bringing them in this week because we're connecting with our fire, Agni, the digestion. And when we're looking at digestion, we're also looking in terms of energy. So I got this whole big download that started to come in around energy. And then I started to think about, what we talk about often in Tarot land, energy harvesters. And I started thinking about all the different ways that that can actually manifest, beyond allowing. I always want to reiterate that when I'm speaking of it, allowing others to cord into your energy, okay? Because it really isn't allowing. It's about not having a good understanding of boundaries. And I think many people struggle with boundaries. It's an issue many human beings struggle with. And it takes a long time to learn about boundaries. What's your yes? What's your no? Okay. So it really got me kind of like looking into all these areas and just offering up a little bit to yeah, shoo. Ah, ibashe, ibashe yo, iba ba ba, iba ye, ibashe. Just wanted to send a little love Oshun's way. She's really wanting to come in. I've been getting a lot of downloads around her too. So, the collective that tunes in, I'm picking up on the energy and what wants to come through there. So beautiful, beautiful energy. And anyway, it got me really thinking about all the different ways that this energy harvesting happens. And it also connected with my personal experience. When I found what was on the other side of that light in that journey we did around just touching base for soul retrieval. And so I'm presented with kind of an interesting situation. And I might share what happens after I go through the process. But I got kind of a trickster challenge in my soul retrieval journeying experience. This is very interesting. Very interesting. I think I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this read. We're just going to let it flow. This is for all signs. You don't have to be taking part in, this 40-day journey we're on. We're on our third week. This is day 15. So we've already made a lot of headway. I hope you are feeling the differences. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the community board. I talk a lot about the Copper Reset course, how you can get your hands on that, all that good jazz. And maybe I'll add something to the description box too to make it a little easier. Yeah, we're looking at energy harvesting, right? Bottom of the deck here, we have the 5 of Pentacles, that feeling of being drained, that feeling when maybe you enter a certain room or you enter a communication with a certain person, or you go to a certain place and you just feel that dip in your energy. It usually begins first as a dip in the energy, but what starts as just a dip can lead to depressive states. It can lead to, in some cases, going cold and going into a place of detachment to this, if furthest extent, to dissociation. Because if you're moving more into this energy of sort of like disconnecting, if you disconnect, you start to actually pull away from different sources of nourishment, you also begin to slowly lose your grounding cord because you go up a little too much into the upper channels, and that takes you into that ether air energy. That's vata energy. This is really common, especially for people that are doing any kind of psychic work, any readers out there, anybody who channels, or if you just tend to really absorb the energy in your environment. Everybody has this ability. Some people are just more naturally in touch with it right out the gate. It's very common if you have vata in your constitution for that to be the case, because vata runs on that ether air energy. But it doesn't always have to be the case. Okay. It doesn't always have to be the case. It's just common because vata types tend to be like really all up here most of the time. They have a hard time being in their body. They need to learn how to really ground it out, really ground out the energy. But it can lead to that. It can lead to disassociative states. And if you stay in these spaces long enough where this energy is draining you, this energy is feeding off of you, it absolutely can lead to illness. It absolutely can. It affects the physical. We already know that. We've been talking about the chain of manifestation, how first it begins up in the ether, and then it comes down through the air, The answer is blowing in the wind, and we download that, the information comes in, our consciousness lights up, it activates our vision. So now we're in the process of manifestation. And then once it heads through that channel, we speak it into existence. Okay, I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to pour energy into this dream of mine. I'm going to go heal with this person, whatever it may be. And then the next thing that needs to come in to really manifest it is fire. Fire is the action. It's using the will that came through all of these centers, marrying it with the heart, that sense of real passionate purpose when it marries with the fire, which comes from that third chakra, Manipura. And that brings in the water, the earth energy, the nurturing it with action, bring it into being, to root it in material reality. Kapha. Kapha represents material reality. So when you've been allowing something to kind of like pour into you and drain you of your energy, it's keeping you from moving into this place of alignment energetically with what is going to provide abundance, what's going to provide rooting, what's going to allow you to effectively manifest your visions. Also in feeling supported, and also being joyful, just being joyful to have the gift of life, to be able to have this experience of getting to be here, Hello, wonderful to see you. I'm just getting started with this read, and good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I'm curious what's behind this. Yeah, look at that. This is what can come in. You're meant to be looking off into this future, but sometimes you have something back there or something in your environment that is kind of energy harvesting off of you. It's draining your energy. And this moment your energy starts to drain, you're going to be ineffective when it comes to manifesting anything in your life. You're going to encounter all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of blockages. You might feel depressed, unmotivated. Okay, so you got to figure out, where is the energy going in my life? Where is it going? And, often rest is what's really required. Rest, letting go, so you can have this space to yourself. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this. And in fact, this week, I'm taking off another week from Facebook. I went on for a day, went on yesterday, and I just paid attention to how it affected my energy. I sort of used it as an experiment. Oh, lovely, Amanda. Good to see you. I just used it as an experiment, and I was like, ugh, I did not like the way my energy felt in that space. It really highlighted something for me. It gave me kind of this contrast and compare experience. So I want to keep kind of playing with this energy and just working with this. But I'm going to take another week off. I'm going to take another week off and just continue to do what I've been doing, because I've noticed, and I don't know what your experience has been, but I've noticed that since I pull energy away, since I pulled energy away from, first I began with pulling it away from um, Instagram, because I just couldn't deal with Instagram. Instagram, hi Vicky, was just way, way, way too, like, it was just too superficial for me. I couldn't deal with Instagram. I'm gonna, it's just not my thing. I want more connection than that. That's what I'm looking for. I realize, other people connect in different ways with, different mediums. But for me, Instagram was just like, I don't want to just scroll and look at pictures. I don't want to see all this image shit. It's not about that for me. And so I felt very out of place there, and I felt very uncomfortable there. And I never really could even get traction there. And I realized it's just because it's not me. I'm not in alignment with that. So it's cool. So I pulled my energy back from there. And then I pulled my energy back from TikTok, but now I'm, starting to have different ideas about how to work with that. But I mainly pulled my energy back from TikTok because I was spending so much time on Facebook, But now I'm really realizing that a lot has changed on Facebook too. That I might just want to stick with the medium of video and being able to connect with people on the level that I want to connect with people, and just kind of trusting that the right people that I'm meant to align with will come around. And so I'm sort of feeling like, this is something that's coming up for you all too, just sort of being very conscious about your energy. What a precious resource that is. That is your will. It's your life force energy, and you get to use it any way you want. And when you allow it to go to sources that drain you, and just bring you down, bring your energy down, you're really doing a disservice, not just to yourself, but we do a disservice to the greater whole. The more that we can really be in our empowered energy, the better off we're going to be. So I feel like I'm going to encourage you all to take another week off from social media. Go ahead, do your check-in, say hi. You have loved ones, you have friends, you have people you want to drop in with. You want to see how they're doing naturally, okay? So, maybe take a day or two to kind of do that and catch up with everybody, catch up on messages. And then I encourage you, take another week off. Notice, use it really as an experience. Well, use it really as an experience. Maybe you haven't been experiencing enough. Maybe it's been too much being plugged into virtual reality. What if instead of using that energy to focus on that, you instead took it for a walk, went outside? I mean, that is something that's coming up for our lesson this week, lesson 3 in the Kapha Reset. We're looking at energy, and energy starts in the digestion with the firing up of Agni, and that's what we all need right now, right? We want to manifest our new way forward. We need a little Agni, and it all begins here to the tune of the Ace of Pentacles to the Magician, Aries Point, come on through, okay? So this is all leading up. What we're planting now with that Ace of Pentacles, that's like a seed, okay? It's the initial seed, stoking this fire, setting the will, getting clear about where your energy is being drained, whether that be at a certain place or at a certain job, in a certain relationship, or friendship, some type of connection, some type of dynamic, some kind of role you're still invested in. All of these things are energy harvesters too. Notice I said things you are invested in. You can kind of harvest your own energy in that way, only in the negative. It's very strange if you really think about it. So, this is an opportunity to kind of get a view of that. Where am I investing my energy in such a way that it actually isn't being of any benefit? And if there is some benefit in it, like let's say it's a kind of a 50-50 situation. Like for me, I'm just going to use the example of social media. Like for me with Facebook, it's a 50-50 thing. I have people there that I have a lot of fun with, and I like to get on there and just shit post. I do. It's just where I let my playful side out. I don't go deep there all the time. I do sometimes. I'm a bit mouthy. It's just it's where I let like my rebellious teenager out, to be honest with you. And I'm never going to lose that part of me. That part of me is totally ingrained in me. Ah, yeah. Yeah. It is hard. It is hard. It is hard, Krista, but it's worth it, right? It's worth it. This stuff isn't easy to move through, but it's worth it. It's very interesting though. It's like this piece of I really enjoy my time there when I'm there on one level. And then on another level, I really don't. So it's very much a polarized experience. And I think that's what it is. That's just the algorithm on Facebook. It's very polarized. And I don't like being in polarized spaces because I'm all about finding that point of commonality, the point where everything intersects, the ways that we are all alike each other rather than focusing on differences. I don't like this contrast and compare energy. It doesn't resonate with me. I'm not in alignment with that. And so I've been doing a lot of work around that. It's involved a lot of letting go for me too. It's really been a deep letting go process of just really looking at where I have attachments to certain things and having to shed my own attachments to things being a certain way or having a certain view. And it's deep work. It's really deep work, right? But it's all leading us up to this place. I mean, that is the work of the Scorpio South node that we're all in. We're all doing this deep dive. And there's something that comes through this deep dive that gives us this idea, this Ace of Pentacles here. I want to plant this. I want to plant this. I got a seed that came out of all this. And I'm going to water it with my medicine that I gained from integrating all this heavy shit. And it takes some shit to make the flowers grow. You know what I'm saying? It takes some shit to make the flowers grow. It does. It's fertilizer. It's fertilizer for what you will be manifesting when we have the changes in the nodes of destiny. And that Taurus, which is represented by Earth, okay? So what gets planted in this time leading up through Taurus season is very significant because it's what's going to have roots. It's what's going to really grow. And we need to be mindful about that because there's a lot of power coming in to activate what's planted now. Those of you who do like to work with the moon, do be aware. 11:33 on the clock. We got a lot of alignment coming up. This is a potent Libra full moon. It will be, I think, like it's something around like 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the States. And it's like just after midnight. Ooh, I just had a bird fly by the window. So if some of you, are really drawn to that, you like to work with the moon, do bring that in. Do bring that in. Work with that lunar energy around this seed you're planting. I encourage you to get really in touch with what you're wanting to root, what you're wanting to see grow. What is your one focus? Where do you really want to channel your energy? Because it's going to have a lot of power. You'll see a manifestation point come that right around Leo season, okay? Right around Leo season, you're going to really see that. Is I got to get the specific date on when they're changing and when that Aries is going to be at 0 degrees, when it shifts into that north node. I'll let you all know because I think there's something to work with there, okay? But it's all about balance, okay? It's all about balance. Oh my. It's all about balance with the temperance, okay? And choices. And look at the temperance angel is right there in between the lovers. My God. To the tune of judgment, to the wheel of fortune, to the 6 of wands. Oh my God. That's a lot of potency, okay? So it's time to do the alchemy work. It's time to do the alchemy work. And part of doing the alchemy work is really understanding what is lowering your vibration, you know? What has you operating at a lower frequency? What keeps you kind of in old stuck habits, patterns of the past? Where are you needing to make changes? And there is this piece here about work with the 8 of Pentacles, work. Nothing is going to be handed to you. We all got to do the work. None of us gets to get around that at all. You know, we all got to dive in and really work and work it out. And it's better off too if we can work together. It really is. You know, so there's this energy of making the investment. And I'm getting this big memo that life really needs to see you putting in the effort. It's sort of like the energy is needing that right now. There's almost this impression this is what's funneling in right now, that a lot of people have been maybe doing rituals, maybe you sending out prayers, been asking for some kind of help, been asking for some kind of reprieve. It's kind of like almost like a little like like, hey, okay, we got the memo, but do you got the memo? Because we already told you some things that you need to be doing right now, and you're not doing them. And you just expect everything to be handed to you. It's sort of like this entitlement kind of energy. And say, no, you got to do the work. You have a certain responsibility here. You are the one that is creating. You're the one here in the physical body. That's why you have a physical body. So you can enter into this partnership with life. All right. So you have to be mindful of where your energy is going, how you're using that energy. It has an effect, and it's your responsibility, and nothing's going to save you, regardless of what your view is, you know? Speaking to those atheists out there, there's all different types of earth walks, okay? And none of them are wrong. None of them are wrong. That's what we need to get over, you know? If we're all one energy, you don't get to just cherry pick when that applies, you know. We're all in this process of evolution. Okay? It's you know, that's the unity point. That's what we're focusing on here. That's what leads us to overcoming on a global level, on a collective level, what has oppressed us in the past. Okay, it applies on all levels, all stratums of being. Right? Chop wood, carry water. You know. All right. Let's get some cards out here. What's the what? Top of the deck? Let me see. One more top of the deck. Yeah. Chariot. Okay. And again, the polarities, you know, the shadow, the light. We need both to move forward. The shadow informs what we need to bring to light so we can transmute the energy and move forward in an empowering way that does not block or obstruct our visions. It's a very, and it also involves choice. The chariot and the lovers actually are quite intertwined. You know, you don't arrive to the chariot until you have first come to this place of choice. we know to move forward, right? We've been talking about this, and now we've been working with the masculine energy more. We've been working with the masculine energy more, and we are really going to dive into the masculine energy more this week. We have to with Agni. It's a very masculine energy. And the thing about that, though, is that we're not just looking at masculine. No, we're transmuting. We're transmuting the way the masculine is viewed. How are we transmuting the way the masculine is viewed? We're not looking at it through the lens of the shadow, of the wounding, of what's hurt. We're looking at the masculine through the lens of the light, the protective energy of the masculine, the providing energy of the masculine, the strength of the masculine. Okay? And it's when we bring this into balance, when we temper it. We can't be divided. We can't be divided from the masculine or the feminine. You know, we have to be unified. We have to be at this unifying point within ourselves and inner consciousness. Okay? This is what needs tempering. It's been coming in since we started this. It's been coming in so strongly, this piece, the feminine, the masculine, the need for coming into a place of unity. And I mean, it makes sense. There is a lot of soulmates coming back around the bend. Some you are doing healing work with. You know, these are people from past lives. We had, you know, whale medicine came in for us. You know, we got Akashic records going on here. We're doing a lot of deep healing work. We're doing generational healing work, you know. But there's this need, you know, we cannot manifest, we cannot create a way forward until we bring this masculine feminine aspect into balance. It's so necessary. And you can also look at it as the active, the receiving, you know, it's finding that balance. That's what actually moves things forward. It's the balance. Do you notice it's not just, you know, this white sphinx leading the, you know, chariot here. There's the black sphinx there too. It's not all black and white. There's a third road. That road is gray. Okay. It's a blending of all that is. And this is sort of like the place where we reach that point of alchemy, transforming ourselves from feeling divided in the choice of the lovers to the unification point of the chariot, moving forward. All right. This is very interesting. Okay, what else do we need to know about this energy harvesting? So we know, you know, we can't really blame another, right? We can't blame another with this energy harvesting piece. We can't look at it as an outside attacker. Now, I'm not saying that people don't try to do that shit. They do. They absolutely do. Okay, you do have people out there that are low vibe that, you know, want to do like these workings. It's because they feel very inferior, because on some level they're very insecure. They don't feel connected to their power. Why else would you need to do a working like that unless you didn't feel rooted in your power? I mean, people who aren't in their strength move like that. Okay, so is it really anything to fear? Here you got to start looking at it differently. Here you have this scared little child. I don't care how old they are. Inside, you have this scared little child who feels so out of control and so knocked out of their power that they feel they have to try to put something on somebody in order to feel like they're in their strength with a hex, you know? If you really look at it, it's rational. So don't fear this stuff. All this fear is just propaganda. It's propaganda, you know? Look, that opens the road. Look at that. 3 of Wands. Boom! Here we come, rushing in with the truth, right? You're responsible. The sooner that everybody understands this, the better off we're all going to be collectively. You are responsible for the energy you run. You are responsible for maintaining your energy. You are responsible for what you allow to insert itself into your space. And it's all about what you choose to focus on, where you choose to put your awareness. I got a male cardinal showing up right outside the window here. I have a red cardinal that visits me out here all the time. You know, I got a I got female that visits me too. But it's interesting. They always come in at opportune times. Star came as a sign of hope, right? Okay. It's that place of transformation where we really root the vision. And I love how that earth energy representing Kapha, because we are moving through this Kapha reset course. Okay. I love how this earth energy comes in to bring this hope, and it's coming through the masculine, the avenue. You want this light at the end of the tunnel, you have to let the tunnel come on through. You can't get to the light without the tunnel. And that requires the masculine, you know? And then look at this masculine. Look at this energy. Look at this energy strong. There's that, it's big Taurus North Node energy. This is where we need to be setting our sights right now in this moment. We need to not jump ahead of ourselves. Everything that we're doing right now, leading up to moving into that Taurus North Node energy, is what stabilizes what we manifest when Aries takes over that spot at that 0-degree point, the Alpha, the Omega, as Cal so beautifully illustrated when she dropped in with us and shared her thoughts on the whole changing of the nodes of destiny. Do check out that broadcast. She brought in some really good information. But look at him, so abundant, very confident. He doesn't have to have any kind of like fierce expression on his face. He's serene. He's sure of himself. He had to be a bit stubborn to get where he needed to go. Maybe some people didn't understand him. Maybe they didn't always understand the hard line he took, but it was necessary because that Ace of Pentacles, right? He had his eyes on the prize. He had his eyes on the prize, that thing that he was going to plant and manifest to grow his vision. Oh, where did it go? Oh, I think it got integrated. Oh, no, there it is. He's holding what he planted at this time, just like you are. So through this process, if you haven't been in touch with it before, you're going to start having a lot of intuitions coming in. You're going to have a lot of new awarenesses coming in. You're going to feel more tapped into your guidance, however you relate to that. Whether you relate to it as deity or you relate to it as your higher consciousness, your awareness. But certain pieces of the puzzle that have been missing are going to start to click into place. And it's what's going to really open the road for you. It's 43:11 on the clock and then 43:13 when I said that. 7-11, baby. It's really about, okay, you had your hand. Y'all got dealt a hand, right? Y'all got dealt a hand of fate. And maybe you have been dealing with difficult people. Maybe you have been dealing with intractable people. Maybe you have been dealing with people that have been draining you, but you have to understand you've allowed it. You've allowed it. And that's a real empowerment when you understand that, like, well, I've allowed this. Okay, so now that I recognize this, and that's not easy to look at, taking my part in it, my responsibility, what can I do to redress the balance here? So that I don't move through life from a place of being guarded or angry or bitter or resentful. Because if you give from that place, remember we talked about this piece about being in a space of gratitude and keeping your energy in that vibration of love, which is just all unlike love falling away. It's so simple, but it's not for us because we get very attached to all that is unlike love. It gives us a false sense of ego boost, This is about really letting go and giving over to the truth that we don't need to hold on to these things. 44 on the clock. We don't need to hold on to these things because when we just move into that space of trust and trust that, okay, where I keep coming up against a roadblock, maybe this isn't the way. Can I be wrong? Am I willing to be wrong? Am I willing to open up to a different perspective? Am I willing to say, okay, show me what is the way? And show me what is the way. What does that require? It requires a leading energy, which is the masculine. So we got to let that in, but not in the brutal way, not in the way that people have come to sort of vilify the masculine, but the masculine as the provider, as a nurturer all his own. It's just a different expression. It's a different expression of energy. I want to do a cut of the deck here and see what we got. And then I think I want to do angel cards. Yeah. The more that we're staying in this space, it keeps reiterating it. We're heading into our third week. It keeps reiterating it. The more the collective looks back at what was spilled, what was wasted, what they feel was wasted. Perhaps you feel this is your spilled out time all over the ground, watering barren fields, nothing grew there. You poured all of yourself out there and nothing grew there. You're still looking at it, feeling resentful. You want this love, 2 of Cups. You want this alignment. You want to align with what fills you up, what fills your heart, what makes you feel good. And you keep stealing your own time. You are the energy harvester. It's because of your awareness, what you're focusing on. You are the energy harvester. This is self-sabotage. And I don't mean to laugh, but here everybody is collectively like, we're all like manning this post, and we're in this defensive posturing, and we're feeling like we've just been through it and we're the only ones putting ourselves through it. Because if we would just give up this post, I can't make it up. What do we enter into? The 10 of Pentacles. Ultimate material attainment, living a life that actually fulfills us, feeling rooted in our lives, having a real sense of home, having a real sense of connection, having a real sense of family, thriving, celebrating with that 4 of Wands. And that applies in all areas of life. Sure, I'll bring it in because I can feel it. It's like I hear it on the collective. Yes, that does mean, finding your person, that soulmate that you want to build a future with. And what does that look like for you? It's going to be different for everybody, Some could say this is marriage, but there's lots of different kinds of marriage. There's marriages of spirit too. It doesn't always require you get the law involved. You know what I'm saying? There's higher laws, right? And people are being encouraged. This is kind of what's just coming through, because I feel like there's a whole like collective that really wants to know about love. And we're going to be diving into Taurus spring fever love reading later today. Okay. But there's this piece here, there's this piece here about, that's a beautiful thing. And you're being asked to move into partnership in this space and to be open-minded and to be creative in what fulfilling unions look like for you, and coming into alignment with your own truth about that and living from that place. And where you're finding you don't have alignment on that regard romantically, it doesn't need to be a problem. There's something that you gained from being in alignment with this person that made you more ready to align with the person who is your energetic match. Okay. But there's this piece here. Yes, it can mean this. Okay. But it's also about just really building, a life that you are celebrating, that you're happy in this life, that you're fulfilled in this life. And it is the promise. It's coming towards you. It's coming towards you. You're here with the 3 of Swords and you can't see it, You're in this hermit energy. you're looking back, you know, but what you don't understand is this wants to come towards you. Okay, you know, for a lot of you, it is love. I don't know why this keeps coming up. Yeah, we got the two of cups. Okay, so apparently, you know, you're like I said, it's the time of soulmate reunion. I also feel like we're talking about soul retrieval, and there's always a continuation here, right? There's always a continuation here from what we were working on last week. Remember, when you're moving through a panchakarma experience, which is what we're doing over these 40 days, it's like one big, long weaving ritual that we are all building the energy of collectively together. It's powerful. So you're going to see these themes weaving throughout your life. And we're going to have these themes reemerging in the reading. All right. So this is also about soul retrieval. This is also about using that soul retrieval in ways that really feel empowering for you. And for some of you, you are calling soul parts back. And for others of you, you're calling back the wisdom and the support of your bloodlines. You're working with getting in touch with your ancestors. And that's beautiful. And we're bringing in this ancestor piece this week, you know, and sometimes that is the missing link. You're really being encouraged. It's really coming, we're all being encouraged. It's coming through so strongly to really like bring in the ancestral piece at this time. Really get to know your roots, get to know about the beliefs, the spiritual practices, the strengths, you know, the history of your roots. It's important right now. It's so, so important right now. This is in and of itself is a unifying point. Once you really tap your roots, you're going to know exactly where your alignment is. It's like it all comes through. There's a big healing that comes through this too. I'm getting this piece from like Oshun. It's like, oh, I love that. You know, Oshun represents the river, right? The river always flowing, ever changing, and the river always returns to the source. You know, it's that interconnectedness, and it's almost like we've been cut off from the source. We've been cut off from the source, and the source is our roots. It's, you know, where we come from, and first within our own bloodlines, but then looking at, isn't it wild? I mean, even all your blood vessels, you know, your capillaries, your veins, they all run like a network of rivers. And where do they lead in the physical body? Right to the heart, right? Right to the heart. You know, there's something about us all going on this journey together collectively and bringing in all these pieces and not blocking any energies that want to come in, regardless of where they come from in the world, you know, really bringing these energies in and understanding that these are all rivers that lead to that one source, that energy of love. It was 53:33 on the clock. You know, yeah, that's the unifying point, you know, that 8 energy, that is the manifestation point. That's when we truly, you know, spark a transformation and we move away from all the suffering, right? We move away from all the suffering. We move away from that which divides. And we land right in our hearts. I love how it's coming through as the masculine, and I love how it's coming through as the masculine. You see this? And it waters the vision. It waters the vision. Ace of Cups. Ooh, I'm done. Oh, you know what? I think I need to put that one. I need to keep that one up for Oshun there. It's so beautiful. I'll have to find the date. I just saw on my one day, I am glad I went back onto Facebook for the day, because on that one day that I did go back, I got to see that Yay Tish, Louisa Tish, is having her 75th birthday, and she's going to be sharing sharing some stuff from a book that she has written, and it's a free event. So I'm going to promote it here. I'm not affiliated, other than I love Louisa Tish. She's a very wise woman. She is a powerhouse. And if you want to learn about African diaspora tradition, if you want to learn about the Orishas, if you want to learn about, you know, root work, anything like that, I cannot recommend her highly enough. She is a phenomenal woman. She's a powerhouse. I just have mad respect for her. And I've had the pleasure to like sit with her, work with her, and just receive so much blessing from that time. Talk about a wise investment of energy that will totally fill your cup. It will fill your cup to overflowing. Okay. So you might want to tune in for that. I am going to. I'm going to. It's always a really good experience, you know. Yeah, it was interesting because I went to pick this up just to put this deck away, and the Emperor was in reverse. Okay, so I feel like this is the energy we're moving through right now, and I feel like it's what's coming up to be cleansed with this full moon. It's to bring that balance, you know, to that Emperor energy. I feel right now we're in Emperor in reverse. So we all know what Emperor in reverse is about. It's about an imbalance of power. Oh, nice. Isn't she amazing? Isn't Louisa amazing? Her soul is like broad and wide like a river of life, man. I love her so much. She is such an amazing soul. Such an amazing soul. I love that you got to experience her. She's phenomenal. When I was working at Milk and Honey, she would come in sometimes. She would come in sometimes. She would talk. She would sit and talk. And I took a class with her that was on learning the songs and dances of the Orisha. And yeah, I've done some work with her, Crossroads. She has a website and she offers it's a program. It's called Crossroads. She's a font of wisdom. Everybody needs to drop in with her, man. I'm telling you, if you're feeling drawn in those directions, if that energy's come in for you, if it speaks to you, you know, she's the one to go to. You should learn from, you should learn from somebody that is, in that ancestral line of wisdom. Okay. It's very, very important. But the Emperor in reverse energy, that's that controlling, my way or the highway. It's oppression, it's aggression, it's these things that we're really rebelling against right now, that we got this energy of Pluto in Aquarius and that Saturnian energy in Pisces. It's very much like looking at new ways to sort of like create more, well, we're working with the energy of water, so let's just bring it in, more fluidity in these like power structures, what that looks like and how it can meet the needs of the whole. This kind of energy. And it's absolutely happening on a global level. It's happening all around us. We see it. We see it in the political world. We see it all around us. There's this theme playing out, and we're being asked to balance this energy. Look, and you don't get more like establishment than this, And it was the Emperor in reverse to the Hierophant upright, okay? And then again, Taurus energy, right? Taurus is right now. Taurus is all about holding up that North Node position. We can't have Aries move into that North Node position of destiny like this. We got to get this energy turned up right. It's just the beginning with the Page of Pentacles. We got a lot to learn. We're all beginners on this journey, and we're all in it together. I want to just pick the angels' brains on this one. All right, I'll leave that up. I'll leave that up like that. It's interesting. It was called to put my deck with the bottom side up next to Ace of Cups and what's there on the bottom, but the seven of the seven of Pentacles. Do we want this new beginning to grow? That's what we need to do. Oh my gosh. And on the bottom of the deck for the angel deck, we have another second time, 4 of Wands. Okay. There's that celebration energy, the 11, they call it the 1111 card, coming into alignment. 4 of Wands, Mahasya, God the Savior. Rectification helps one live in peace with everyone. I cannot. This read. All right. Let's see what the angels have to say about this. All right, angels, what do you want the collective to know about all of this message, this download? What do you want everyone to take away from this? Sort of put in their medicine bag as they move through this week's experiences, where we're going to really be focusing on our energy, building energy in our body, producing more nourishment for ourselves by really looking at energy. What's energy? What people always talk about calories, right? What are calories? They're just a unit of heat. They're a measurement of heat. Well, in order to effectively burn through the foods you eat, you need to be able to have sufficient Agni. So we're really going to be working on that. And as soon as we get this guidance from the angels after that, we'll kind of like touch base on that action that we got coming in this week with rebuilding the digestion. Angels, what do you want us to know? What is the spiritual piece of this that you want us to, the energetic piece that you want us to take with us as we move through this week? Yeah. Bottom of the deck energy, the sun. Mahil. Oh, I love that. You guys' sense of humor. Agni is represented by the sun in as a deity, and there's this symbolism of the chariot coming with the sun. So it's just pretty wild the way that came in. The sun, Mahil, the vivifying God, restoration of life, protection from adversaries, rabies, and wild beasts. That rabies is, if for some reason, and wild beasts, it's interesting. Rabies is like making me think of that like zombie energy. Like that's what we kind of think of when we think of when we think of energy harvesters. I mean, at least I do. I always get this image of like a zombie in my mind. They'll eat your brains. It's just that kind of that thing, and then you become one, right? And then you're foaming out the mouth, and then you're going and eating other people's brains. Okay, so don't be like a zombie when you move through life this week. Engage with your life. Unplug from the matrix for a bit, be mindful of where you're spending your time, how you're investing your energy. Start noticing this a bit. Get out into the flow of life this week a bit. Spend a little bit more time outdoors. Spend a little bit more time unplugged. Actually, like connect with life. Continue to run your energy. Just know, you only let in what you allow in. You're responsible for that. Okay. And the wild beast part is making me think of our journey through, like, we're doing a lot of this kind of real deep work, and we'll be bringing in more pieces, that soul retrieval work, and kind of like a preparation for doing that. If you feel like you need to do that, we'll continue to bring these pieces in. But however you're working with that, whether you're working with it to connect with your ancestors, whether you're working with it to connect with a certain part of your psyche from a time in your life, a difficult experience that you want to heal and integrate, that you feel like, you know what, I'm ready to integrate this now. I can look at this now. I can hold space for this now. Or whether you're looking at it as, actually calling a soul part back. We're heading through a lot of really deep terrain right now. So please remember that piece that I was bringing in about rooting yourself, making sure you're like spending time with trees and spending time with nature. It's really going to ground your energy. It's so important. Grounding your energy, just simply even, I don't know how cold it is where you are, but even just taking off, oh, okay. little as above, so below cleansing. I just got this piece about coming in to do a moon, like a moon bathing with the full moon. Go out, stand out there, put your bare feet on the ground. Maybe even hold up your arms like that Ace of Cups. Let that lunar energy pour through you, cleanse you, let the energy come down. Just cleanse the energy from within you, release it to the earth, let the earth take it, hold it. There's something about that. And I love that because the moon is, the moon, the sun, it's both that light you look for, in the star card. That's you're looking at the moon to get that sense of light. But we know that the star is all about what returns after that time of darkness, that light at the end of the tunnel. It is the sun. Really beautiful message right behind that. Three of Cups, the healing, you know. So that wild beast part, it reminds me of this like healing work we're doing where we're wading through a lot of shadow stuff. It can be trickster energy. We're wading through a lot of shadow stuff. We're looking at things that have kind of formed our narrative, our stories, the way we move through life. We have to remember as we're journeying through integrating traumas and journeying through integrating these sort of heavier emotions that we're mindful that a lot can be smoke and mirrors. And the reason why it can be smoke and mirrors is because there's times, I mean, this is kind of an interesting piece that wants to come in, so I'm going to bring it in. Okay, it can have a couple different applications. I'm being called to bring in both for some reason. So the first application is like, let's look at something like having an imaginary friend. Okay. There is one school of thought, okay, that in most cases, an imaginary friend, when you're a child, a lot of kids had an imaginary friend, is just a natural part of development. It's part of developing certain social skills, communication skills, relating skills, and it's a common experience. But there can also be cases where if there's some kind of trauma, if something happened that was too much for um, you to handle or you to integrate or process at that time, that sometimes, and I got throat chakra blockage coming up, so I know this is true. And this is sensitive, so if you need to tune out for a moment, usually when I go in on these reads for this stuff, we're going to be going into, real stuff here. We're not going to be skimming the surface. It's Pancha Karma. That's what we do. Not everybody is ready for all that action. It's up to the individual, but that's where we're going to go in these dives together. Okay. Sometimes the imaginary friend can become like a doppelganger. That's how I want to describe it. A doppelganger of your shadow. Like it has to hold the heaviness for you and separate you from it. And separate you from it because that creates a space of distance, boundary between you and this heavy material. Mm-hmm. And in this case, in some cases, I've brought this in before, thoughts are things, right? Thoughts are things. And how do we create manifestations? What we focus on, where we direct our energy. And when it's married with feeling, it can create a manifestation. So sometimes these thought forms can become things that are energy harvesters all their own. And there is a need to integrate those healing. It's like that's what can act as the tethering cord to keep you feeling like there's a part of you still connected to a certain time and place. Why you feel like you keep recreating from a certain time and place. It's because there's your shadow back there. And are you ready to call your shadow back to hold it and understand it? Which is pretty deep. And it is the work of the Scorpio South Node. Funny, Adam, my daughter has an imaginary friend named Hank, and he is a camel with 2 humps. Interesting. That store water. The water piece coming in. That is really wild. It was 1:11:11 on the clock when you brought that in, when I just saw it at the very least. I wonder what he's storing. I wonder what Hank's storing. That's what's coming in. 1:11:33 when I said that. I wonder what Hank is storing. What emotions? That's what I would say. Water's emotions, right? And it was 1:11:44. All kinds of synchronicity around this. Might want to hold some space for your daughter. See what emerges. See what emerges. What was that? The devil. Samuel, the severity of God, seduction and downfall, communicates with the dead, teaches the occult and magic. Let's get something here. Give me a clarification on this. What do you want us to know about this energy? The things that can seduce us. It can be dangerous dancing with the shadow, right? This could be for somebody who's really drawn to, working with the shadow on a dark level. Somebody who's drawn to the dark arts, seduction and downfall. It can be a lot of that kind of working. It comes from fear, right? We were talking about that. It almost slipped by. That almost slipped by. The devil's in the details. Whoa. Ooh. Ooh, it came out in reverse. That made somebody angry. A King of Swords. Laya, the exalted God, victory, grants victory and protection from lightning. Isn't that funny? And then reverse, and it fell on the ground. Ooh, no dice. That feels like some cross-watcher energy came in right there. No dice, not around here. We got the sun around here, baby. I love it. All right, let's see. Now that we got rid of that intrusion, you see how easy that is? What's coming in, angels? What do we need to know about this weekend? Stay aware. Oh, that's the thing. It's like, I know what it's like. I see so many people, right? So many people. They feel so afraid of this stuff, like dark workings, things of this nature. I laugh because I too, I was in that place. If I'm point in my life where I felt very scared, you know. I felt very scared, and I internalized stuff from outside of myself that I didn't need to. And then I learned a really powerful lesson. And ever since then, I don't have any fear of any of that. It's funny to me, and I can feel it when it wants to come in. You know, I can feel that energy when it's around. Yeah, it's just an illusion with the Seven of Cups. It's smoke and mirrors. It's not real. It's more the stories we tell ourselves about it, okay? Seven of Cups, Asalia, God, the just judge. Contemplation makes the truth known in legal proceedings in spiritual court. Page of Cups. Yeah, we got the memo. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. We got the memo about the smoke and mirrors. We know how that stuff works. Page of Cups, God who rejoices to find comfort, gives consolation and protection from one's enemies. Crossed by the Eight of Wands, okay? The great and exalted God, grandeur makes one passionate toward God. All right. So, you know what? I feel like that's it, man. That's the download. The download is pure as it came in. It doesn't need to be altered in any way. So, now we're going to move forward to the portion about this week's lesson. And I don't know, did you all who are here, did you get a chance to read the lesson? Did you get a chance to read the lesson? And have any thoughts about anything that came forward? This week, we're totally focusing on bringing in one of my favorite things, the 10-day ginger treatment. Okay, it was the ginger rasayana. It's really good for firing up Agni, your digestive fire. Good, good, Amanda. It also is great for clearing out any ama accumulation. Really excellent for that. There's another piece you could add to that. You know, you're going to start first with drinking ghee. Drinking warm ghee, you know, I know it's a little out there, but it's so good. It gets butyric acid. Oh, I know, it's so delicious, huh? I love the ginger rasayana. Drinking the ghee, for me, that's my least favorite part of the process. We start with drinking ghee for 4 days in incremental doses. I think I'm gonna make ghee on full moon. I want to do a full moon little charging up with it, because I'm like, it's Libra full moon, it's balance. What better time to make ghee? Oh, great. Well, you got your groceries. You know, that's the best thing, is to be prepared, to not have to be like stressed out about what you need. I need to go too. Oh yeah, warm ghee. Yep, you're gonna drink ghee for 4 days. It's to really build the butyric acid in your gut. Butyric acid, ghee builds butyric acid in the blah 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 blah. Ghee builds butyric acid in the gut, and that's what feeds your healthy flora. You know, that's what makes all those probiotics really thrive. It allows them to really colonize, and that's so important for balancing the digestion. Really gets things fired up. It's also like good for helping just excrete all the digestive organs. And ghee is also the most bioavailable lipid, because it most accurately mimics the natural lipids in our bodies. So your body just says, oh, this is so good. I just want to drink this in. I did the warm ghee today, chanted and burned some sage and copal as I was heating it. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful practice to make your own, and it's so simple, you know, and you can just bring in some energy around that. And working with Ganesh is great with making ghee, you know, and working with that Ganesh mantra. Om Gom Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gom Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gom Ganapataye Namaha. Later this week, I'm going to teach you all a Kriya. It's the Ganpati Kriya. And it's to make the impossible possible. Because I did see, Amanda, you brought in that you would like some mantra practice to come in. And I've been thinking about starting that Kriya myself. It's a really good one. It takes a bit of a commitment. You start with a 40-day practice every day, and it's 11 minutes at least once a day. And it involves mudras, hand postures, and yeah, it's a good one. And it involves a chant, it involves working with a mantra, and is super effective. It's also really wild. So some interesting things happen. It does make the impossible possible. It does really interesting things around time. Okay. So just be prepared for that. They call that the seedy, the power of the mantra. Like that, these mantras are seed sounds, and these seed sounds, they have like a certain energy all their own. Every single little syllable, little tone, holds all the wisdom of the Vedas in it. And they seed. And we talk about planting the seed with the Ace of Pentacles, right? So, it's like that planting that seed, and it reverberates throughout all of creation. It's potent. I really like going deep with mantras. I haven't done it in a while, actually. I haven't done it in a while because I've been really called to work with Orisha dance. And that's what's been coming in for me. My thing, my jam is I put on Fela Kuti and I do Orisha dance, and I sweat my prayers. And that's been really good for me for clearing the road and the obstacles. It gets my body moving, it feels really good. And I got a real big memo, at the time, that there was like not wanting me to work simultaneously with mantra while I'm really working with the orishas. The energy is not wanting to come in together in that way. Respect around both energy, but they're wanting to stay in the just like that vein of that tradition when I'm working with it. But I just kind of got the memo that Ganesh is okay because he's an elephant. He's an elephant. So the energies are harmonious. So, okay, we can work with a little elephant energy. We're going to bring that in. Yeah, Ganesh is great. And he brings in music and intellect. That's why. The musical connection is Orisha dance. And Ganesh is kind of rules over music and dance, and also writers. He's great to call in for writers. He helps to remove obstacles from your path. You can bring him in anytime you're studying something. Oh, well, then you'll really enjoy this. It gets really interesting. If you enjoy bending and suspending and playing with time, Amanda, then you will really enjoy working with that Kriya. And it's magical. That's all I can say. It's magical. And it takes like these impossible situations. So if you're dealing with like some really impossible situation, you're like, I don't know what the heck to do about this. I'm telling you, that Ganesh energy is so awesome for busting through the blocks and getting through the other side. So awesome for busting through the blocks. So yeah, we'll bring that in. We'll bring that in. But yeah, you're going to start with that warm ghee, and then you'll have your ginger rasa yana after that. Oh no, you're going to do your shot, your clear shot. There's another option you can do. That course, I wrote that course initially. Gosh, it's been a few years now. It was back in 2020. So yeah, it's been 3 years. Wow. I can't believe it's already been 3 years. Talk about bending time. Since then, I've come across a new way to also clear out that you can do that I want to share. So that you can do the shooter that's in there for after you do your 4 days of your drinking ghee, then you stop drinking the ghee. And on the day 5, you do the shooter. You can go with what's outlined in there. If you don't want to do the castor oil, there's another thing you can do. And it's a little bit of a slower process, but it's amazing. I might actually do this one. So I'll share this one with you all. You get equal parts raw sesame seeds, okay, to golden raisins. And you soak the sesame seeds and you soak the raisins overnight. All right. You drain off the water in the next morning. So let's just, for the sake of this, let's just say you don't need to, you'd be surprised, but let's just say you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. I would personally, I like doing it like smaller batch, but if you wanted to make up a bigger batch, you could do like a quarter cup of golden raisins to a quarter cup of the raw sesame seeds after you strain them, pulse it in a blender or a food processor. It's going to make like a paste, and just store it in some kind of airtight container in the fridge. And you eat a teaspoon of that mixture before every meal. That'll clear you out too. And you can work with that one if you prefer. It's a slower working one. Castor oil will be like in and out. But you'll get every bit as good of an effect with the sesame seed golden raisin mixture. You absolutely will. But I would do it a good week. You'll get a real good clear out. It'll clear out your intestines. It'll get all that gunk out of you. You'll be feeling so much better. It is pretty yummy. It is. It is. I like it. I like it myself. It feels good. Feels like it really gets the energy moving. And it's not as cold quality as castor oil is. Castor oil is effective and it's only a day, but I do like kind of sticking with warming too, as you go on. And again, dry brushing came in. Okay, dry brushing came in for this week. Pay attention to where you're at with the dry brushing, right? Because the course, as I'm doing now, as I presented it, I always would bring in specific recommendations for the people going through it. So if you are feeling anxious, if you are struggling with insomnia, if you are dealing with any kind of dry conditions, like if your hair is dry and frizzy, or if you've got dry skin, or maybe you've got like brittle nails or like cracked lips, that means you got a vata imbalance. All right. So if you currently have a vata imbalance, please do not do Garshana and do not do dry brushing, because it's only going to build more vata energy in your body. And especially with the work we're doing, you don't want to go even more vata if you already have a vata imbalance, because it's going to start making you lose that grounding core. We need you embodied. We need you embodied as we go through this stuff. Okay. So just stay focusing on the salt scrubs as a way to get stimulation, or you can do like an Abhyanga massage with warm oil, and you can do, gua sha over it if you want. And if you're like, I don't even know how do you do gua sha? What's gua sha? What's that about? I do have a video that has gua sha instruction. It's under the Own Your Fire Panchakarma playlist here on the homepage. I also have a playlist going for this one that we're currently going through right now as well. So if you want to catch up with either or, you're welcome to look back at the ones that came in for Own Your Fire. Okay. Own Your Fire. I'm trying to think of the timing when we started that. I do think it was in the summertime. It was the summertime bleeding into the start of fall. So we started bringing in more of the respiratory and intestinal kind of cleansing at that time. You can refer to it definitely if you're dealing with any kind of dry conditions, or if you're like really, you're hot and dry, like you've got any kind of inflammatory plus dry conditions, you might want to look at that Own Your Fire, and you can add elements of that into what you're doing. It'll help balance things out. But if you got a lot of cough going on, okay, if you got a lot of bloat, if you're feeling kind of heavy, if you put on some pounds, if you're on a weight release journey, you can certainly do some dry brushing, and it'll be really beneficial. But you're fine to keep with salt scrubs too, right? So as you move through this experience, do what works for your body, what feels good, and pay attention to how you feel after you do certain things. Like I noticed this week, I was doing a lot of gua sha, and every time I got a really good solid gua sha in, I had a lot of emotional stuff come up, which is pretty common when you're really going at it. And, so just be mindful of your own internal rhythms and how you're experiencing that. And I hope you enjoy some of the recipes, and experimenting. Like those little energy balls are really, really yummy. And they help, they help kind of combat some sweet taste and learning to enjoy sweet taste in different ways. Does anybody have any questions or any experiences you need to bring in? I'm just kind of looking over these comments here. I feel like I'm about to get wrapped up here and get on with my day. Yeah, it's fine for you to go ahead, do it all on your timing too. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't read if you haven't read this week's lesson, that's fine. You can always just consider Tuesday as the start of your week, and you can tune in and check it out then and move through the experience. And yeah, it's okay if you are a few days behind. It's okay if between one week and the next, maybe you're like, I need to have day or two to kind of like integrate my, that's okay too. you know it's fine. You can just move along at your own pace. These lives will be here, as a drop in point. You can always bring questions in, even if you're, a little behind those who have been at it, from the get, and are just kind of like, staying on track with it. You can make it whatever you want it to be. And sometimes I'll do that too. I'm like, oh, I need a little extra day of rest here, and I'll give myself that. So don't pressure yourself. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? I'm gonna have a couple sips of my morning coffee here. Just give you time if you need to put anything up there. I really feel a lot better since getting my coffee down. It was a bit of an adjustment. I haven't been eating at night at all. So that's really good. I feel so much better. I feel like I moved a lot of stuff. I'm feeling much clearer, and I hope you all are too. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. So we're going to go ahead and just say, see you later. And I hope you enjoy your week, and you take all those pieces that came in and you let them just kind of marinate, and explore this idea of energy harvesting. Next time you think somebody's draining you, or why do I have to go and do this? Why do you have to go and do it? Oh, you do. Oh, wow, that's big. Okay. Yeah. Wow, you deleted all your apps. That's big. You're in it to win it. You're like, I ain't playing around. I'm going for that 6 of Wands, baby. I'm ready for my 6 of Wands, my 10 of Cups, my 10 of Pentacles. I'm ready for all of it. I'm ready to eat it all. I'm ready for satisfaction. I will do what I need to do. Good for you. Yes, you have an awesome day too. And thank you for sharing yours. Thank you for everybody who comes and shares. And thank you to all of you who will make the replay. And if you haven't yet and you've been tuning in, consider subscribing. It really helps support the channel. It's a beautiful energy exchange. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Look for those synchronicities. I have a feeling they're going to start tumbling it in. Take care. Yes.